Do you fix or push off your problems? Dealing with problems could bring discomfort, stress, fear, all types of different emotions and feelings that you don't want to go through, so you push it off until you're ready. In quotations, ready. But that ready will never happen. The fear of failure holds you back. By pushing things off, you've trained your brain to learn that this works. And instead of attacking the problem, you just learn to avoid it. And by avoiding this problem, you will do that for the rest. It will become a cycle that's hard to get out of. A cycle that will keep you down, and you'll feel depressed by it, sad by it, because you're not getting anything done. You're just dreaming. You're wishing for something to happen that will never come, because you won't fix it, because you won't try to fix it. You won't try to solve it. Now, you want to wait. Maybe you don't feel supported, or you think that you don't have the tools to do that task. And, that could happen. A lot of things that I have wanted to do in my past, I stopped because I didn't have the support. I didn't have so-called the tools. But in reality, now looking back at it, I had those tools. I had that support. But I think the support I was looking for was mentally. And mentally, I was not there for it. Mentally, I was not prepared. And honestly, nothing in this world you should be prepared for. Nothing in this world you will be prepared for. Mentally, I was not there to push myself to keep going. I didn't have the right discipline. I wasn't consistent to keep going. I was still a kid. And even doing things now, I get like that sometimes, but I'm able to snap myself out of it and keep going because, I really want something and I want to go for it. I want to pursue it. But back then was a different story. And for people who are still in that struggle of pushing things off and avoiding them, don't. Obviously, it's easier said than done, but you can't avoid stuff. You can't be waiting for people to come and do it for you, to help save you. You have to be the one that gets up and do everything. And it sucks. 100% it does suck, but it's part of being an adult. It's part of having responsibilities, being a parent. You have to do these things because if you don't, who will? And if you're not doing that, your children and the next generation is going to see that and they're going to grow up and that's what they saw, and that's what they were taught. So they're not going to do it. They're going to wait for somebody to come help them. And I feel like 100% that's what this generation has turned into. The younger generation and maybe even a little bit of my generation, they just think that everything's given to them. They don't have to work for it. And some of them probably get away with it, especially with social media. People don't have to work too hard because everyone's on social media. So people get popular off of that, famous off of that, get money from that. So I feel like not a lot of people want to work as hard as what my parents had to do, or what I have to do. I feel like I'm in the middle. But if you could find that support that you need from yourself, from others, from places that you're at, if you can find that support to keep going, to keep pushing and not avoiding stuff, then you are set. You are exactly where you need to be. You are exactly what you need to have to keep going. And if you think that you don't have the tools, you do. But it might not be the tools that you want. Some of the tools that you have might be old. Maybe you have to create your own tools. And then eventually when you have enough money or so, you buy more tools. You buy the better tools, the more advanced tools. I remember when I was going out for baseball, all I wanted was the known brands that everybody knew. So everyone would think that I knew how to play baseball and all that. So I spent, all this money on all this crap, all this equipment. And I didn't know how to play baseball at all at that time. So we bought all this stuff and I didn't even use it. I didn't even play with it because I just gave up on the whole thing. So you spend all this money on these high class equipment, high class tools that you didn't even use because I gave up. When you go and you buy tools, use what's around you. Use your environment before you go out and you buy all this stuff. Obviously, sometimes you're going to need like a baseball bat. In my case, I'm going to need one. But I went out and I bought stuff I didn't need. Definitely use what's around you first. And then venture off once you get going, once you get yourself in a good routine. Saying that you don't have the tools now is just an excuse. Just an excuse. Borrow the tools. Not saying steal them, but borrow the tools. By not fixing your problems, you're not lazy. It's a sign that something emotionally is there and it's keeping you back and making it very hard to handle. There's something else going on in the background that you haven't noticed yet. A lot of our emotions are tied to our lives because, that's just how it is. They might not even be related at all. Something can happen at home that you take to work and you have a bad day at work because of what happened at home. Their mind is still going through all those emotions. You take it to the next day, and you shouldn't. How I like to do it is each environment that I go into with a new mindset. I go into with a clear mindset. If you're taking a negative thing that had happened from a different environment and you're bringing it to a different one, a new one, you're just not going to have a good time at all. You're just not going to be able to focus, and you'll do the task at hand. You might even bring down other people near you. Say you're like the leader. Say you're like the boss. You don't want to bring them down just because you're having a bad day. That's not fair to them. But our emotions are really tied to our everyday lives. So you really need to make sure that you have your emotions handled. And if they're not, then you're going to start to see some problems start to happen in your life. By breaking that cycle, you must make the problem smaller, easier to approach. You do this by writing it down, what you need to do, the task at hand. And you break it apart, how you're going to go from now to there, and break it down. Make a blueprint how you're going to do it. And once you get there to the very end, you start from there. And you don't wait. You start now. You keep going. You keep working. You keep going up, up, up until you keep hitting all these check marks. Until you finally got to that problem that you needed to fix, or that task that you needed to do, that goal. That's how you do it. That's how you do it.
Thank you guys for listening. This has been the Discipline Podcast. Check out other episodes or topics, I guess you could say. But thank you guys for listening. See you soon.